Why did Marx and Engels, a pair of fellow countrymen from the Rhine province and alumni of the University of Berlin, become an inflection point in the history of human thought? Looking at their personal growth, we can see the laws of intellectual development and the historical materialism. See that heroes are shaped by the times. In 1806, 20 years after the death of the iron-blooded king, Frederick the Great, Prussia suffered a major defeat by Napoleon's army in the Battle of Jena. It was a dimensional reduction attack to the feudal old army by the liberal new army. The Prussian army was plagued by hierarchical systems, conscription corruption, soldier labor, flogging punishments, and aging generals, while the French army after the Great Revolution, with its abolition of hereditary privileges, was composed of newly liberated farmers, showed proactivity and flexible in tactics. In terms of tactics, the French army operated as independent division, utilizing flanking maneuvers, relying on the terrain, and engaging in skirmisher warfare. In contrast, the Prussian army still adhered to the linear formation and general engagement. Hegel, who was a professor at the University of Jena, witnessed Napoleon riding through the city from 1806 to 1813. During the German War of Liberation against France, German nationalism and patriotism were ignited. In order to save the nation, Fichte, a student of Kant, went on lecture tours. Humboldt, who was invited to serve as the Prussian Minister of Culture and Education, rushed around. German thinkers worked hardly to promote education and intellectual revolution among the entire nation. The Prussian government pushed for the Stein-Hardenberg reforms, which emancipated the peasants, abolished serfdom, established city parliaments and governments, created a national bureaucratic system, reformed the military by abolishing junker officer privileges, and established new military academies to train new officers. With the support of King William II, Humboldt founded the University of Berlin. It was the first modern university in human history, based on the principles of university autonomy, academic freedom, and the integration of teaching and research, thus initiating educational reforms. Fichte served as its first president, and Hegel succeeded him in 1830. The university has cultivated 57 Nobel laureates, a large number of master scholars, such as Einstein, Planck, Hegel, Bohr, Helmholtz, Hertz, Haber, Stinger, Weber, Green, Schopenhauer, and many others, have studied or taught at this university, while Kant and Fichte were the starting point for Marx's ideological exploration. However, after the war, the authoritarian rulers failed to fulfill their promises of freedom and democracy. In 1815, the Holy Alliance was established, followed by the Carlsbad Decrees in 1819, which suppressed the liberal movement. University regulations stipulated the appointment of academic supervisors to monitor students and professors, dismissed teachers with liberal thoughts, dissolved student organizations, and imposed strict censorship of all printed materials. The Confederation had temporary power to investigate revolutionary activities and the authority for armed intervention. These laws remained in effect until 1848. The authoritarian rulers in Germany completely stifled freedom of thought, while the Rhine province was the most prosperous region. For German liberalism, Germany had long been a federation of numerous states. When Napoleon fell in 1815, Germany was mainly divided into 4 parts: agricultural electorates in the northeast, feudal and authoritarian; the traditional Prussian region, which saw industrial development due to the Stein-Hardenberg reforms; moderate liberal regions in the central and southern areas, such as Baden-Württemberg-Hesse, Hanover-Bavaria, and Saxony, heavily influenced by France and focused on agriculture. Lastly, the Rhine province and Westphalia, due to the long-term Napoleon's institutional reforms and land reforms, underwent anti-feudal processes and rapid capitalist development. They identified with the principles of bourgeois liberalism after the French Revolution, and did not identify with Prussian authoritarianism. They greatly benefited from the continental system, the textile industry in Aachen-Barmen and Elberfeld, and the metal processing industry in Remscheid and Solingen flourished. Engels was born in Barmen and grew up in Elberfeld, belonging to a wealthy textile factory family. Marx was born in the historic city of Trier, which is located at the intersection of Germany, France, Belgium, and Luxembourg. It is Germany's oldest city. Both Marx and Engels came from the middle class and received a good secondary education. They went to University of Berlin to study successively, which was the highest academic institution in Germany. European classical philosophy had developed from Kant to Hegel, reaching its peak. The young Hegelians, the most avant-garde intellectual movement in the university after Hegel's death. But they still pinned their hopes for Germany's future on the benevolence of the Prussian king, due to their small bourgeois conservatism. However, Marx and Engels truly engaged in profound and independent thinking, inheriting and criticizing the ideas of Kant, Hegel, and Feuerbach, and developing a new and more complete philosophy, Marxism.